John Steinbeck's The Pearl, first published in 1947, is a powerful novella about hope, greed, and the destructive influence of wealth. Set in a poor coastal community in Mexico, the story follows Kino, a pearl diver who discovers an extraordinarily valuable pearl and believes it will transform his family's future. Instead, the promise of wealth brings conflict, violence, and tragedy into their lives. Steinbeck's literary style is simple, symbolic, and often fable-like, using vivid imagery and recurring motifs to give the story a universal quality. The novella explores themes of greed, poverty, family, social inequality, ambition, fate, exploitation, and the corrupting power of wealth. The Pearl remains important because of its timeless examination of how the pursuit of material prosperity can distort human relationships and turn a dream of a better life into a source of destruction. The story starts with Kino waking before sunrise around the year 1900 in a brush house near La Paz, on the Pacific coast of the Baja Peninsula. He is a Mexican Indian pearl diver who lives with his wife Juana and their infant son Coyotito. Kino listens to the roosters, the waves, and the quiet song of family in his mind. Juana rises to check on Coyotito and starts the fire, while Kino steps outside into the morning and watches the world waking around him. Their peaceful routine is broken when a ray of light reveals a scorpion crawling down the rope of Coyotito's hanging cradle. Juana prays and recites a charm while Kino moves carefully to catch it. Coyotito laughs, reaches for the rope, and shakes it. The scorpion falls onto his shoulder and stings him. Kino grabs the scorpion, crushes it, and beats it on the floor, but the damage is already done. Coyotito screams in pain. Juana immediately tries to suck the venom from the wound. Neighbors gather at the cries, including Kino's brother Juan Tomas and his wife Apollonia. Juana asks Kino to call the doctor, though everyone knows the doctor does not visit poor brush house people. When Kino doubts the doctor will come, Juana decides to take Coyotito to him. Kino, Juana, the baby, and the watching neighbors walk toward the center of town. At the doctor's gate, Kino feels both fear and resentment. The doctor is wealthy, powerful, and part of the Spanish colonial class, far above Kino and Juana in the town's social order. A servant from Kino's own people opens the gate but answers Kino's native language in Spanish. Inside, the doctor eats biscuits and drinks chocolate while remembering Paris. When he hears Kino's request, he asks whether Kino can pay. Kino offers 8 small pearls, but the servant returns and lies that the doctor has been called away. Humiliated and furious, Kino strikes the gate until his knuckles bleed. Kino and Juana then go to Kino's canoe, his most precious possession, and an inheritance from his grandfather. They hope to find a pearl valuable enough to pay the doctor. Juana lays Coyotito in the boat and treats the wound with seaweed. Kino dives among the oyster beds while Juana prays. He gathers oysters and finds one large shell with a ghostly gleam. Back in the canoe, he opens it and discovers the greatest pearl either of them has ever seen. Juana notices that Coyotito's wound has improved, and Kino cries out with overwhelming joy. Other canoes hurry toward them to learn what has happened. News of Kino's discovery spreads through La Paz before he even returns home. Everyone, from beggars to businessmen to the priest and the doctor, dreams of how the pearl of the world might benefit them. Kino and Juana are joyful and invite others to share in their good fortune. When Juan Tomas asks what Kino will do with the wealth, Kino imagines a church wedding, new clothes, a harpoon, a rifle, and most importantly, school for Coyotito. His vision amazes everyone because education could change the family's future. At dusk, the priest visits and blesses the household, reminding Kino to remember the church in his prosperity. After the priest leaves, Kino senses evil around the pearl. Later, the doctor arrives with his servant, now pretending concern for Coyotito. Kino is suspicious, but the doctor warns that the poison may still become dangerous. He gives Coyotito medicine and says he will return in an hour. Kino hides the pearl in a corner of the house. Soon, Coyotito becomes sick, and the neighbors gather again. When the doctor returns, he gives another treatment and the baby improves. The doctor asks when Kino can pay. Kino says he will pay after selling the pearl. The doctor offers to keep it in his safe, but Kino refuses and accidentally glances toward the hiding place. That night, Kino grows uneasy. digs up the pearl, and hides it under his sleeping mat. Later, he hears an intruder searching the house. Kino attacks with his knife, and the intruder flees, leaving Kino bruised and bleeding. Juana tends his wounds and calls the pearl evil, warning that it will destroy them. Kino insists it is their salvation and looks into it with hope. The next day, all of La Paz knows Kino will sell the pearl. Pearl fishers stop work to witness it. Kino, Juana, and Coyotito dress carefully, and the neighbors follow them into town. Juan Tomas warns Kino that he may be cheated because he has no way to know the pearl's true value. He explains that pearl fishers once used agents to sell pearls in the capital, but that system failed because the agents became corrupt. Kino accepts the danger but sees no better choice. At the first dealer's office, the dealer examines the pearl and claims it is too large to be valuable, more like a curiosity than a marketable gem. He offers 1,000 pesos. Kino angrily says the pearl is worth 50 times that amount. Other dealers are called in, but they also dismiss the pearl or offer even less. The first dealer raises his offer to 1,500 pesos, but Kino refuses, convinced they are trying to cheat him. He declares that he will go to the capital to sell it himself. That night, the neighborhood debates whether Kino is brave or foolish. Juan Tomas warns him that traveling to the capital may be dangerous, but Kino insists he must secure Coyotito's future. Later, Kino senses an evil presence outside and steps into the darkness with his knife. A man attacks him, and Juana finds Kino injured on the ground after the attacker escapes. She begs him again to throw away the pearl, but Kino refuses. He says they will leave in the canoe for the capital in the morning. Before dawn, Kino wakes and sees Juana quietly taking the pearl from the fireplace. She slips toward the shore to throw it back into the sea. Kino follows, catches her, takes the pearl, punches her, and kicks her when she falls. He leaves her on the beach. As he walks away, men attack him in the darkness. Kino fights back and kills one of them with his knife, but the pearl is knocked away. Juana, crawling home, finds the pearl in the path and considers destroying it. Then she sees Kino beside the dead man and realizes they must flee at once. Kino claims he acted in self-defense, but Juana knows the authorities will not care. Juana runs for Coyotito while Kino goes to prepare the canoe, but he finds someone has smashed a hole in it. The destruction of the canoe wounds him deeply, because it is his inheritance and livelihood. When he returns toward home, he sees flames. Their brush house is burning. Juana meets him with Coyotito, and the family hides in Juan Tomas's house, while the neighbors believe they have died in the fire. Inside Juan Tomas's house, Kino tells Apollonia and Juan Tomas what has happened. Juan Tomas warns that the pearl has brought evil and should be sold quickly, but Kino still intends to keep it and go north. Juan Tomas agrees to hide the family for the day and quietly gathers supplies. That night, before the moon rises, Kino, Juana, and Coyotito say goodbye and leave La Paz. They walk north through the night, avoiding the town and hiding their tracks in a wheel rut. At sunrise, they rest in a roadside shelter. Juana asks whether Kino thinks they are being followed. She begins to doubt the pearl's value, but Kino says the attacks prove it is worth something. When he looks into the pearl, he tells Juana he sees a rifle, a church wedding, and Coyotito's education. In truth, he sees violence, a bleeding body, Juana after he has beaten her, and Coyotito's swollen face. While Kino sleeps, trackers begin following them. Kino sees 3 men on their trail and remains still until they pass, but he knows they will return. For a moment he loses hope, but Juana rebukes him for giving up on his family. Kino decides they may lose the trackers in the mountains. He suggests Juana hide with Coyotito while he leads the men away, but she refuses to separate from him. The family climbs into the mountains, and Kino tries to confuse the trail by doubling back and changing direction. They reach a pool and stream near a cleft, drink deeply, and rest. From above, Kino sees the trackers still coming. He creates a false trail up the cliff, then returns to hide with Juana and Coyotito in a cave. He hopes the trackers will pass them. At evening, the trackers camp by the pool. 2 sleep while one keeps watch. Coyotito becomes restless, and Juana tries to quiet him. Kino decides he must kill the watchman so the family can escape. He tells Juana to run to the nearest town if he dies, then strips off his clothes so he will be harder to see and crawls down the slope with his knife. Just as Kino prepares to attack, the moon rises and makes him visible. Then Coyotito cries from the cave. The trackers wonder whether the sound is a human baby or a coyote. The watchman fires toward the cry to silence it. Kino attacks at the same moment, killing the watchman, taking the rifle, striking another man, and shooting the last tracker as he tries to flee. In the terrible silence after the violence, Kino hears Juana's cry and realizes the bullet has killed Coyotito. The next day, near sunset, Kino and Juana return to La Paz. Juana carries Coyotito's body in a sack over her shoulder. They walk through the town silently with empty eyes, while everyone watches. They pass the brush houses and continue to the sea. At the water's edge, Kino takes out the pearl and looks into it. Instead of hope, he sees only evil and loss. He throws it far into the ocean, and he and Juana watch the sunset as the world sinks in darkness.